What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Lost Records, Bloom and Rage yet again. This time, I want to look a little bit more at the stats, right? The analytics. We'll get back to the theory crafting and getting ready for Tape 2 100%. Okay, we'll be doing that as the weeks and months actually continue to go. But I wanted to take a look at how it's doing on Steam database, deliver, in my opinion, what would be not very good news. I'll explain it as we go here. I don't know if I'm legally required. I mean, they gave me the code. I've said that, in the past videos. I'm talking about the game, but I just felt, okay, let's just throw that in there just in case, I guess anybody's curious. Or, hey, if you want to call me out, this is not necessarily a positive video, so I don't really know what you're going to say about me. Here's the thing, okay? Overall, I would give this a more positive than negative, and I say that, okay? You can watch my review, all that jazz. I say that in terms of context for this video. I'm not here looking to take the game down. I'm not, oh, look, the game sucks, right? Oh, look at how little people are playing. I'm not coming at it from that angle. In fact, this actually makes me mad, really, no matter how you feel about the game. If you loved it, if you're kind of in the middle on it, this is not great news, kind of no matter what, in terms of maybe the future of Don't Nod. I'll explain where I'm going with this, okay? But what I want to say is this, right? People take a lot of shots at Life is Strange Double Exposure. People put a lot into, okay, Lost Records is the return of Don't Nod. And yes, you have to, in my opinion, separate quality from, the sales, the performance, right? There are some incredible games throughout all of history that have done terrible. Now, I don't know if I would say this is a crowning achievement, game of the year type thing, but there's been games that have actually been, I think, far better than Lost Records and also have had nobody that's playing them, okay? And it's always sad, I think, no matter what. And again, the reason I make these type of videos, let's talk about it, let's look at it, because while we're celebrating Lost Records, or you might be celebrating it, you might just be talking about it, if not a lot of people are playing this game, I don't know about the future of Don't Nod, which again we'll get to. So okay, here's what I want to do. Let's look at the Steam charts. Now, it's not sales. In fact, as time goes on, I think we will get sales. And in fact, technically, there are sales estimates right now. Now, these generally are not very good. I often say I think you got to kind of go in the middle of them. So right now, in terms of sales, it's probably sitting at 6,000 sales, on PC. You don't really know, at the end of the day. Secondly, PC is one part of the overall sales. I imagine, okay, in terms of breakdown and kind of, I don't know, just past history and stuff, I imagine PlayStation would kind of be the defining, that's where most people would play it. I don't know. I don't know if this game has sold 20,000 units. I don't know if it sold 100,000, 200,000, whatever. There's absolutely no way it sold 1 million. There's probably no way it sold 500,000, 400, 300, anything like that. It's probably sitting somewhere between 50 to 150,000 sales, okay? Now, the reason I bring all of this stuff up, why do I keep saying all this stuff, even with the limited data that we have? Well, one thing that is 1,000% for sure, right? So the all-time peak, which is when the game came out. Now, it's the first half of the game. So I do, and I'm actually very curious, I should say, very curious at how Part 2 does. Does it do significantly worse? Does it actually bump it up? Are people waiting on the entire game to come out to play it? I do think those people exist, but at the same time, you look at other games that are like this, and it doesn't guarantee, it never guarantees that you're going to have the majority of the players playing the second time versus the first. Oftentimes, it is the first, and it only goes down from there. 5 episodes, you have less people playing each episode. Shouldn't be that way, at least in my opinion, but normally it is that way. Again, we're just kind of spitballing. We're having a little bit of fun, hopefully. All right, 1,990 people played this thing 2 days ago. That was the peak concurrent. Now, that doesn't mean, that's all of units sold. That's what those estimates are for, right? Less than 2,000. Now, I do want to take a couple shots here, right? I see all these people, and I'm not saying in terms of quality, but you see all these people that really went after Life is Strange, okay? Life is Strange Double Exposure. And no matter what you think about the game, one other element, so that's the quality, but another element people went after Life is Strange Double Exposure for, because they didn't like it, was the performance, okay? How many sales that it did. Well, let's look at a pretty interesting stat here. 8,524 people was the concurrent high, all-time high, of Life is Strange Double Exposure. So that is 4 times higher. Now, one interesting fact that I saw, if you look at these Twitch stats, the all-time high for watching Life is Strange Double Exposure was almost 22,000. That's actually exactly what Lost Records was, sitting at 22,795. It was actually higher for Lost Records, barely, I mean, by like less than 1,000, okay, versus Life is Strange Double Exposure. So viewership online was roughly the same, and one was the return of Max, and, you know, a title that people recognize, and the other is a brand new IP from a developer, you know, that people recognize, right? So, okay, you look at that, but beyond that, the 2,000, less than 2,000 versus the 8,000 is pretty alarming. Now, you could say, all right, Alex, enough with Life is Strange versus it. Well, okay, I got one more for you, and this is really where I want to take this video. This is why I'm scared. This is why I'm very, very scared for Lost Records Bloom and Rage, right? Because I've talked about it a lot, and maybe people don't care. That's okay. I mean, it's not really, you don't have to care, you know, about these things. Donut, I feel like, is in serious trouble, okay? They're not making a lot of money. They greatly rely on sales for their back catalog games like Vampire and Life is Strange. Those are like 2 games keeping them alive right now. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden doesn't sell. Jusant doesn't sell. Tell me why. Twin Mirror. You can go on and on. None of these games, in fact, no Don't Nod game has ever really sold except for Life is Strange 1, okay? Now, I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it one more time here. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, number 1, is, I think, their best game since Life is Strange 1 by miles. I think it is light years ahead of all of these other games except for Life is Strange, okay? That's number 1. Number 2, it's one of the best games that came out last year. Number 3, nobody bought it. And if you look at the that's not just me, oh, Alex exaggerates, oh, Alex says this for a lot of things. You go look at their financial, you know, their statements when they talk to investors, all that jazz, they talk about how bad it did, okay? I've read it. I've shown it before in videos. It did horribly. Okay, well, let's look at Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, shall we? We only have Steam. Again, maybe PlayStation, maybe Xbox. Maybe these are higher platforms in terms of sales, right? All-time peak in viewership, 78,000. Almost 4 times the viewership of Lost Records. All-time peak players, 3,800, roughly double. Roughly double. And I am not saying, okay, again, now, look, for me, Banishers is a much better game than Lost Records. That's just me. I don't really care. You guys shouldn't really care, okay? This is not talking about the quality. This is talking about, okay, how is Lost Records doing? I think we need to have an honest conversation with ourselves at how Lost Records is doing, in that Banishers did horribly for them, okay? Banishers did not sell. Banishers probably is going to double the sales of Lost Records when all is said and done. That is not good. And I mean, if you want a further stat, you look at these owner estimations. Now, again, this is why you can't fully trust this. Look at the range. 110 at the lowest, 400,000 at the highest. Again, maybe go in the middle. Go 200,000. It sold 200,000 copies on PC. Now, by the way, I don't think that's all that bad. If that was an indie, that would be actually really good. It's not an indie. That's kind of the problem, right? This is where I'm at, and I've seen people talk about this on Twitter. I've kind of, just responded or liked things or whatever. This is why I'm worried. This is genuinely why I'm worried, because Lost Records is like, this is a new studio. I mean, it's people that made Life is Strange 1 and 2, right, that created it. But this is like a new studio that they built. This is like a new franchise. This could be something that they want to do for a long time. Nobody's buying it. Nobody is buying this game. And by the way, okay, this is where I exaggerate. When I say nobody, I mean a very few amount of people, all things considered, okay? When you look at a studio that like needs to survive and say needs 2 million sales and it gets 300,000, that's what I mean by nobody. It's not to discount us. I played the game. I liked it overall. And this is again why, please don't say anything really stupid, because I'll come back in the comments. Don't say anything, oh, Alex, you're celebrating it, anything like that. Number 1, I don't think the game's doing very good in terms of, the sales and stuff. Number 2, I'm not saying it to, again, celebrate and to say, oh, look, we won. I'm not rooting for it to do bad. Even if the game is, by the end of it all, right, end of tape 2, is like the most average thing of all time, I don't want it to fail. Failing twice in a row, because Banishers, twice in a row would really scare me about where Don't Nod is going in the future. Very, very much so. So I'm not looking for this game to sell 15,000 units and to shut Don't Nod down, no matter what I feel about it. So just want to stress that. I'm not pleased. If I were them, I would not be pleased with the performance so far. I'm not pleased with it just kind of looking at it. And, again, I mean, we don't have everything, but you can look at this stuff. You can make some pretty good assumptions. People do it all the time. People do it with other games on Steam Database. Pretty good source, pretty good tool, and I pray for the love of God that they never get rid of something like that. But no, I want the game to do well. We'll see how it does. And like I said, ultimately, it could be an example of a game, and I hope it is, where Tape 2 sees a jump. If that jumps to 5,000, 6,000 people playing it by the time the full game, quote-unquote, full game comes out, right? All right, then we can have another discussion. I'm sure we will. Okay, maybe it found life. And by the way, I keep bringing up Banishers to talk about, like, this AA, AAA type, like, situation, right? Like, them really trying to sell well. These games need to sell a couple million, right? Because they're not made by 20 people. If you want to look at something that is maybe a little different within Don't Nod, look at Jusant. Go to Jusant right now. It's got great scores, okay? Almost a 90% based off 4,000. But okay, 4,000 reviews, pretty low. Look at the all-time player base. 350 people, not 3,500, not 35,000, 349 souls. Now, that's a game that you're not going to measure directly to Lost Records, and I guess granted what Lost Records did maybe like 6-7 times, that. But yet again, did Lost Records, what's the difference between Lost Records and Jusant? It's probably a lot. So I think that's all I have to say for now. Please keep it respectful for the love of God in the comments, and we'll see where we go from here. Again, hopefully Tape 2, there's some sort of second half life to it. I would like that. In fact, that's kind of what I want from this game. So let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.